Murder in the blue Mustang.
Michelle's been shot.
Aspiring actress Michelle O'Keefe was gunned down as she sat in her beloved pony car. Mike O'Keefe says his daughter was a brilliant 18-year-old who had it all together.
These are a couple of her trophies from cheerleading.
A star cheerleader in high school.
She has ribbons and trophies.
Yeah, they'd won for different things.
And a whiz at math.
She was a good student. She finished all her college calculus before she even finished high school. And she finished high school a year early.
But the numbers, Mike says, that were more exhilarating to Michelle, the 260 horses throbbing under the hood of her Mustang GT.
I remember she made me a deal. She goes, "Dad, if I can get my bachelor's degree in a year, will you buy me new rims for my Mustang?" And I said, "You know what, if you can get your degree in another year, sure, we'll spring for rims for your car."
Michelle juggled college courses in computer science with part-time work as a TV and film extra.
She goes, "Dad, I could work, I could do this every day if I want to." And we both encouraged her. I go, "Well, that's great, but why don't you get your school knocked out first?"
It was a cold February in California's Antelope Valley. Michelle and a friend were on the way to LA for an unbelievable gig.
On that particular day, her and her friend were set up to be extras in a Kid Rock video in downtown LA.
Michelle didn't want to drive the Mustang the 60 miles into the city, so she pulled into this park and ride lot off the freeway in Palmdale, parked under a light, and rode with her friend for a night with Kid Rock.
Michelle was so conscientious of her Mustang, she wanted to park it underneath the light stand there. So, to minimize any kind of risk of vandalism.
There's Michelle and her friend in the front row as Kid Rock performed. The production went into overtime, as they often do. By the time they returned, Michelle was late for class and still needed to change out of the rocker girl outfit she wore for the video.
At 9:22, Michelle was changing her clothes from that video in her car for her class.
They were running late, and the class was going to end at 10 o'clock, so she told her friend, "Look, I'm going to slip into my jeans. I'm going to head down there and tell the teacher what had happened."
Michelle's friend dropped her off and told Mike she saw her put the Mustang into reverse.
She assumed she was going to leave, and actually what Michelle had done was move from one parking space down to another to change out of these club clothes they were in for the part they were playing into, just typical student kind of attire.
And what her friend didn't see is that Michelle's car went into reverse, hit a planter, and came to a stop. And this was no accident. Someone had just blasted 4 9mm slugs into her face and chest.
I just couldn't believe what I was looking at.
Security guard Raymond Jennings was patrolling the lot that night.
Right around 9:30, I heard a car alarm go off. And as I started to walk down to where that car alarm was sounding, there was a gunshot. And subsequently after that, there was multiple gunshots. And I radioed in for my supervisor and told her I had shots fired. They patched it through to the sheriff's department.
What Jennings, an Army National Guard sergeant, found was a crime scene as bloody as any in Iraq.
When you approached Michelle, did you check for a pulse? Did you give her any CPR?
No, I didn't check. There was multiple gunshots to Michelle. I didn't think anybody would survive something like that.
When he saw her, he saw a faint pulse, and he saw her hand twitching. And how could a man that's been trained in the military, a trained infantryman, not instantaneously want to jump in and do CPR? His comment to the police was, "I didn't want to disturb a crime scene." That doesn't make any sense.
The only other witnesses? 4 people in another car smoking weed and listening to music. They reportedly heard the car alarm and what they call tapping noises. Over the next few weeks, LA Sheriff's detectives tried to piece the puzzle together with what Jennings could tell them.
I'll just tell you what I see.
That's Jennings in what detectives call a cognitive interview. It's a scientific way to help a witness recall crucial information they may have forgotten.
I thought she was a prostitute because of the way she was dressed, and then found out she was in a Kid Rock extra in the Kid Rock video.
He said his view was blocked by another car parked next to Michelle's Mustang, but the detectives' interest was piqued. They believed Jennings volunteered information only the killer would know, such as the order of the gunshots and the trajectory of the bullets.
When I first seen her, the gunshot in her chest, that to me looked like the very first shot that was fired. It was just close range. It was very close range.
And he gave chilling details of how he says Michelle died.
Like her hand was twitching, just shaking like that, or just popping up and down.
Okay.
And then I seen you can see a slight pulse in her neck, just it's real light. I thought she was still alive.
Jennings was so helpful, investigators wondered, how does a security guard know so much about a shooting he says he didn't see?
When you were talking to investigators afterward, did you ever at any point think to yourself, I better stop talking or they're going to start looking at me?
You know, I figured when I went home, I was like, I sat down and talked to my wife at the time and told her I think they believe that I did it.
He was right. Next, the key witness becomes the prime suspect.
He had an incredible amount of information a minimum wage security guard doesn't normally have.